68% of all Americans can't cover a $400 emergency. Are you one of them? Rainbows to Riches.
Welcome back to Rainbows to Riches, guys, a podcast tailored but not limited to the LGBTQ plus community. I'm Rayleigh, and until recently, I had absolutely no financial guidance until I met Drew and his husband, Michael. They not only became my financial mentors, but big friends. And when I graduated from college, I had student loan debt, credit card debt, and other types of debts. And that's when they started helping me. And I was like, why not put this idea out there to help our community?
I'm Drew. I don't know if I'm a big friend or not, but we are friends. I have owned and run several businesses in 3 different countries. I bought, sold, and rented out real estate. And at this stage of my life, I'm looking to give back, which is something that's always been very important to me.
My name is Michael. I'm Drew's husband. We've been together about 25 years. And when I met him, I had just come through bankruptcy. And with his guidance and support, I have been able to get my finances in order, buy a house, run a business, and looking towards a retirement someday.
And today, guys, we are teaching our audience about what?
Financial literacy.
Ooh.
And
Financial security?
stability.
Stability. I was so close.
Almost there, halfway there. But that's what we're here to talk about. This is our first episode because I believe it's the foundation of finances, like you
Definitely.
learning financial literacy. And basically, we'll be breaking down the basics of personal finance. I would say that you guys will be breaking it down, the information a little bit better than me. And
You think?
A little bit.
Maybe a little bit, I'm learning. But okay, so to start this conversation with our audience, what can we define these terms first, guys? What would be financial literacy and financial stability, and how they differ from each other, and how do they work together to achieve a goal? Just to explain the terms for our community.
Well, financial literacy is the ability to understand and use all the different financial tools that are out there and at your disposal. Financial stability is the opposite end of that coin. Once you've understood it, how you take steps to actually put it into action and give yourself the stability you need for your life and for your retirement.
For me, financial literacy is just simply understanding a lot of the terminology and a lot of the ideas that will help you make wiser decisions. And stability is, once you have that information, utilizing it in a way that creates a stable foundation for wealth building.
So if you know financial literacy, you have an understanding of the basics of what financial is. If you use what you learned, you will have financial stability.
And it should last you a lifetime. It should really be able to last you a lifetime once you have a solid understanding of what you need to do.
Period. So guys, only watching to us does nothing to you. You have to watch, you have to pay attention, you have to interact with the content, maybe share with a friend, take notes, and actually apply that in your life.
That's intimidating.
Tell me about it. But anyways, so what subjects would include in financial literacy? Because I remember taking a class of financial literacy when I was in high school. Miss Kay Back, thank you so much for being the very first person to introduce the term to me. She was kind of a strict teacher, and I appreciate that. Hope you're well, and hope you're watching this somewhere. What would be the main subjects?
Well, financial literacy is composed of many, 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 many subjects. There are certain basic ones, though, that you'd begin with. And in my mind, budgeting is the first.
Essential, right?
I'm sorry?
Essential.
Yeah, it really is. You need to understand what money is coming in and where it's going and how you should be spending it. There are several types of budgets, and they should be written down. I mean, you can find budgets online. You can pay for them. There's really no need to. You can find budgets on almost any site for free, or make up your own. You put your income, how much comes in from any of your different jobs, how much gets taken out for taxes and insurance and the like, and what your net income is after that, and then you list your expenses. And to begin budgeting, you have to have a written budget. You can make up your own. It's very simple. Your net income on one side and different categories on the other. And you make sure that in the budget we're suggesting, the 50-30-20 budget, we suggest that 50% of your expenses go towards your needs that you absolutely have to spend on, like your rent and your mortgage or your car payment and the like, health insurance. 20% right after those needs comes out for you're smiling, comes out for investing and savings if you can, and what's left, 30%, are for your wants. Things that you just love to have, and it's a new pair of shoes, and it's dinner out, and it's whatever you're going to spend money on that
Travel.
you enjoy. Travel.
Which is the most fun and important part of our budget. You know, the 30% is the
Fun
most
stuff.
And in the beginning, when you're young and you're just starting out, you might not be able to put 20% away. You might have to do 10%. But you should do 10% because very few people couldn't survive on 10% less than they're earning today. Very, very few. So therefore, that 10% should be put away at a bare minimum in some sort of savings or investment vehicle, which we're going to also talk about, and we're going to have episodes on where you put your money, when you start. And as a teaser, you can start with $100. You can start with, what do you want me?
Well, why? How can $100 help us?
You can start with $100 in an investment account, and we're going to tell you how.
What does that break down to?
And that's $3.33 a day.
You'll understand. You will understand this joke in the future. So stay tuned.
But it's
Stay tuned.
$3.33. Who can't put away $3.33 a day?
That 33 cents is always the hardest
Well,
part.
maybe. But that's part of it. That's part of the
33
deal.
cents.
Anyway, getting back to where we were, budgeting is very important. You need to create a budget. You can find budgets online for free. No need to spend money on a fancy budget because it's a very simple and straightforward instrument. You have to be sure you base it on your net income. Everything after the taxes and the insurance and everything else is taken out, and unemployment insurance. What you come home with is what you base your budget on, your expenses on in your budget.
Your net income.
Your net income. And yet, I don't like to say net because some people are not sure what net is. Net is what you come home with.
The number that's on your check when it gets deposited.
When
After taxes.
after everything that comes out, right. You also need to understand your credit rating because that's very important insofar as how much money you're going to be able to borrow or how others see you when you need to do almost anything in finance. And there's only three basic credit bureaus. TransUnion, I haven't written down, Equifax, and Experian. There are dozens of others, but those are the three that almost everybody uses. And the scores go from 300 to 850.
Understanding how your spending behavior and your behavior in general affects your credit score is important. Like, as in, if people are applying for credit cards too often, how that could decrease.
Yeah, there are a number of things which will reduce your credit score. The first and the biggest by far is paying your bills late, because that gets reported, and that's a big chunk of the percentage of your credit score that will come out. You also shouldn't have too many credit cards, and you shouldn't, however many you have, you shouldn't have them charged up to the full amount or close to the full amount. That will lower use
30% of your
30%
limit, right?
is nice. And you really need to be able to pay off your credit card at the end of every month because the interest rate is exorbitant, between 20 and 25, sometimes more percent. That's a ton of money when you add it up over time, and you're basically getting nothing for it except the ability to buy something before you have the money for it. Never a good idea. I had one more. Oh, diversify the mix of your credit. Credit cards is one type of credit. A loan from a bank, a college loan is also something else. A car loan is another way to kind of diversify and spread out the different types of credit you have, which will help your credit score.
Nice. And just to like shed light on the importance of budgeting, because I feel like a lot of people, including myself in the past, just go about life just like have money, I have to pay this and that. Don't plan, because I feel like budgeting is planning
Right.
your finances. It's just like making a to-do list for your money. And I would like to hear some of your personal experience, Michael, of how budgeting helped you during like the toughest times of your life, and how the mental and physical organization of money, because budget is nothing but
I have no idea what just happened.
Anyways, we had this guest. Whatever. Can you tell us
Cut
about
that out, please.
how, or maybe it's funny.
It's funny. I don't know what happened. I'm not even touching it.
Leave this the beginning of the song going on.
It's speechless. Well,
how-
for me, when I started working, I was making most of my money in cash as a hairdresser. I was sort of off the books, and I had no idea how much money I was earning. So the first thing I realized, I was living fine. I was paying all my bills, but I had no idea how much I was earning. So I first started keeping track of all the money that came in, which was a lot more than I thought it was. And then
That's what
I
you
thought, where's it going? So then I started keeping track of every cent I spent. And so much of the spending, especially when you're young, is unconscious. You pick up this here and you go out for drinks with somebody and you get a cup of coffee and maybe you buy something at the drugstore or buy a shirt. And I always had money. But when I realized how much money I was spending unconsciously, it was kind of surprising to me. So then I started looking at ways I could cut money and budget myself. So for me, the most important part of budgeting is to keep track of the real numbers. And I did that without ever trying to control it or change it. All I did is I wanted to know, okay, I made certain amount of money from the salon, certain amount of money in tips. So when I totaled all that up, I knew how much money I was supposed to have. And I never spent more than I had, but it was kind of shocking to me how easily I could spend money without noticing it. Especially, now I back then always spent in cash. Nowadays with credit cards, forget it. I mean, you don't even, although the one thing I will say with credit cards or debit cards is you have a written list of all the expenses, which can be pretty horrifying when you look at the end of the month and go,
It's funny that you said like about the unconscious spending, because one example that as I became more conscious after creating this community, after paying attention to my finances, and disclaimer guys, I have said this in the pilot and I'm going to repeat it. I am the student. I am in the journey with you. Okay. We're in this together. I am nowhere near being,
Financially secure.
completely secure. Let's not put me down like that.
Okay.
Be
Fair
kind.
enough, fair enough.
Yeah,
Rewind.
I am working on it. I'm on the way. But like what I'm about to say, like these like realizations of when you're becoming more aware of your spending is what helps you to budget better. I remember one day hanging out with my friends in New York, and the amount of taps that I did for the subway, that you think it's only $2, which right now it's like $2.90, and sometimes $3, depending if you're crossing New Jersey to New York. Like the amount of times we were tapping to get to places, and you don't even think about it. And it's like literally like $30 in subway rides. So what did I do? I bought the card and I transferred the money directly to the card, so that I know that MetroCard has my transportation
Right. Good
money.
idea. Great
Budgeting,
idea.
separating, like putting into places for more control. And this was just like a simple example of how I changed my behavior after I became more aware of my financial habits after hanging out with these two beautiful men. So I'm done. I'm done. I'm just gonna
I'm
do
waiting. I'm waiting patiently.
I'm just gonna do the call to action, so we
Okay.
have that already under our
Go
belts.
for it.
So if you need a reminder, and so research says that you become like the 5 people you hang out with the most.
There we go.
I didn't know if I should correct you or not.
Hang out with the most. And thanks to the internet, you can hang out with us in real time, almost in real time right now, to always be reminding yourself about being financially responsible. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and send it to a friend so you become part of this community with us.
And that really is so important that very often people simply don't realize what they're spending on. When you have a credit card and you're putting everything on your credit card, fine, then you know. But most people don't do that. And come the end of the month, they have no money and they're not quite sure where it went. So by using a budget and using it religiously every single day and checking that you are where you want to be, you'll at least know where your money is going and can make adjustments if you need to make them.
I just want to clarify because the term budget is often associated with like lower priced or lower quality if you're going to a budget motel or something like that. But what we're saying in a budget at this point is just a record. So the budget you're creating is based on who you are, how you want to live, how much money you actually earn, not saying, oh, you've got to spend less. If you want to spend less, you can, but at least you should be able to keep track of it and know whether you have money, why, and whether you don't have money, why.
And when you put $200 a month for eating out in restaurants, and you list it at the end of the month, you have to look and see, did you spend $200? Did you spend less? More than likely, you probably spent a little more, or you realized it in advance, and you were at the 20th of the month, and you said, okay, I've spent my $200. I'm not going to eat out anymore this month.
In terms of priorities and I guess sticking to your plan, following
your plan and knowing when you're at that point.
Period. So, moving on to our next segment, creating new spending habits is what makes us financially successful. And why would it be important for us to pay attention to that more now, especially now at the time that we're living? I feel like because we are part of the LGBTQ plus community, we should be paying a lot of attention to it because of what we are seeing in the media about our government, and how some political parties are coming for our rights. And what would be the most important step to start new financial habits? I feel like a emergency fund would be very important.
You have to start. The first step is start saving. Ideally, you'll have 3 to 6 months of your income, or of your expenses really, put aside for emergencies.
Needs.
For your needs, right. That does not include eating out and new shoes.
We're talking about covering expenses such as your rent, your utilities, your insurance, gas money, car payments, whatever you have no flexibility on.
Needs, what you need to live.
And it may happen all of a sudden because you hurt yourself and you don't have insurance, or you don't have a salary coming in
Or COVID.
after a week. Or COVID.
COVID was a perfect example.
COVID.
My salon was shut down for 14 weeks. No income, no
in my
tips,
shop.
nothing. But my rent had to still be paid. So for 14 weeks, luckily, I was able to, hold off on any other expenses, no clothes, no eating out, very lower grocery bills by eating, very basic foods. But at the end of that time, I came through it with the help of some government PPP, I think it is, where they reimbursed you for losses. But if I had not had money set aside, it would have been a very different time.
Another example would be if your parents want to kick you out of the house for being trans, for living your authenticity, for trying to live a life that's better for you and under a condition that you did not choose to be born with. So having a
Emergency fund.
1, 2, 3. So having a emergency fund is of paramount importance for you, my trans friend. So keep on watching us.
Or for anybody. I mean, how many gay people who are not trans have had difficulty continuing to live where they were living?
And in reality, is we're identifying as part of the LGBTQ plus community, but there are people who are straight who just disagree with their family and they have issues with their parents and they're not safe at
that's
home. You know, we're not the only ones who are being victimized. I think we have to
Exactly.
recognize that there's a lot of people who need this information, no matter what their identity or lifestyle or whatever terminology you want to use is.
Yep, I love the inclusivity, guys. I love that you are also taking into considerations straight people's needs and their reality. You know, you might lose your job.
Yeah.
So it's just for us to understand, to notice that financial literacy and understanding financial literacy goes for everybody, and everyone is
Absolutely.
welcome in this community, because everyone
Absolutely.
at one point in their life will run into a scenario where they'll need emergency funds to cover something.
And you want to make sure you have it when that happens. Once you have established your budget, and assuming you haven't lost your job and COVID doesn't come back around again, you need to take somewhere between 10 and 20% of your net income and save it or invest it. Usually you start by saving, like in a high interest savings account, and high interest probably means 3 or 4%. It's not very high. And when you get when you have some money put away, and it can be as little as $100, $3.33 a day, it could be as little as $100, you can start investing. Ideally, your initial investments will be towards your retirement, even though you're in your 20s or your 30s and you're not really thinking about retirement. It's going to come. And ideally, that's where you're going to have the bulk of your savings.
I have a question. Do you think it's, because you say 10 to 20% for savings and or investing, do you think, for example, a scenario, somebody has only 10% to put aside. Do you think it's effective if that person puts 5% into savings and 5% into investing, or you think that that's too little? Or do you think that that's important to develop the behavior?
I think the savings part is the part that goes towards your 3 to 6 months emergency fund. Investing, by and large, means money you're putting into an account which you will not be taking out for a very, very long time.
It's not what they would call liquid.
But do you think that as little as 5% works if somebody's starting, or do you think that they should?
It's
If
way
somebody has
better
only
than
10%, what should they do with it?
they should
Divide it,
have. They
or-
should first save up for their 3 to 6 months savings.
Okay.
Now, savings can be in CDs as well, which you can take out. There's just a penalty, or in a high-interest savings account, which is 3 to 4%. But the first thing you want to do is save that money. But you know what it does? It not only have you saved the money, whether it's 5% or 10% or 20%, not only have you saved the money, you've kind of started to condition yourself to savings. It becomes part of who you are. Every week, or every month, or every 2 weeks, you get a salary check. Automatically, some percent of that just goes into savings or investing magically. It just becomes part of who you are, part of your
Like
being.
brushing
It
your
just-
teeth.
Yeah, you just do it.
Some people have it done as a payroll deduction.
Yeah.
They have the money taken out before they even get to their own bank. So let's say you have 10% of your income set aside into a, whether it be an investment, retirement account, or whatever. So you're only living on the money that comes to you, but that money is yours. It's just set over there. So you never miss it. It's not like you have to make an action of taking it and putting it there.
And when if you can do that, and you can always stop it. I mean, you can always tell them, no, we don't want to take it out this month. But if it just gets automatically taken out, your net income is less, and you just adjust to living on that net income.
That's interesting.
And
I don't have that
that's-
yet. See?
And that's very, very, very good way to begin your savings and investing plan.
Yeah. My brother used to tell me, he always said, pay yourself first. So in other words, before you plan, it's what you're saying, the 10 to 20%, before you plan on how you're going to structure your finances, just take money and put it over on the side. And you get used to not having it. And then all of a sudden you look at an account and go, how did I get all this money in there?
And it really grows frighteningly quickly.
And before we move on, just something that I experienced when I began this process, you're going to think it's too little. You're going to think that, this is not going to help me with anything. You know, $10 that of my paycheck is not going to help me anything. Why would I put that in my savings? Like, it seems like it's not enough. It seems like it's not worth anything. But again, how Drew and Michael are explaining, the development of the habit is also important.
Absolutely.
So, because I felt like, what am I doing? Like $20 savings? Like, you know, because our mind is so in the now. Like, we never think about the accumulation of the $20 that you're doing every week, or
And the compounding of the interest. And just to give you, and I've probably said this before, and I probably will say it again, if you save that $3.33 a day, $100 a month, and you start when you're 25 years old, $3.33, $100 a month, you don't ever put any more, which of course is not going to happen because you're going to earn more and you're going to put more in. But just putting that in from the time you're 25 until you retire, if you retire at 65, you will have $1 million. Based upon the 200-year history of the stock market, you will have $1 million in your brokerage
The
account
compound interest.
because of what and you will have put in $48,000 of your own money over all those years, and you'll have $1 million.
we're going to use that information as our next hook, guys.
Okay.
Branding.
Remember that.
Branding, you know what I'm talking about. I know you know the internet. What else? What's next?
Well, the last subject are credit cards and the use of credit cards. You should have credit cards. They're great for an emergency, and they're great for building your credit up as long as you pay them off at the end of the month, because the interest is astronomical.
Yep.
When you think of 20%, and people say, well, 20%, that's no bit. That's a ton of money. Something you bought for $100 really cost you $120 or more if you're paying the minimums. It can take you 20 years or 30 years to pay it off. But you really need to have credit cards. Try to find ones with no fees and only charging you interest if you don't pay it all back. So basically, they don't cost you anything. And the one other point that I had left out before, if you're in a bad financial situation, a bad credit situation, your credit scores are low. One way you can get your credit scores up, kind of painlessly, is to get a prepaid credit card where you put down money, not a fortune, maybe $300, you put in that card. You never touch it. You then charge things, up to $300 every month, or whether it's a $50 or $100 or $150, you charge different things that you buy and pay it off in full. That will increase your credit score enormously.
What's the name of the card?
Any card.
It's a type of
Prepaid.
card.
I'm sorry, prepaid credit card, yeah.
Prepaid. Take notes, guys.
Most credit card companies offer a prepaid credit card option.
Yeah.
So they're holding your money, but you are building up your credit score. I think $300 is the minimum. I'm not sure for every card.
It just
You'd have
shows
to check it out.
that you're disciplined, that you are able to pay off on a regular basis. And once they see a pattern of spending and repaying, it creates a credit history. That's it.
You have interesting stories about credit cards and building businesses that we might leave for maybe next episode.
Yes.
Let's
So
do it
you'll
for the
have to
next
stay
episode.
tuned.
Yes, because this episode we're running out of time.
So stay tuned for our next episode. Do you have anything else for your
No,
people?
I think we have exhausted this initial episode.
Do you have anything else, Michael?
Just look forward to talking more about my life.
Period.
My crazy life.
Forward to talking.
And how they got to where they are and how they can help us, Gen Z, people who are confused as hell. We don't even know our gender. Anyways, haters are going to keep hating, guys. So you might as well be hated being rich. I don't know if that made sense, but whatever. That was kind of corny, but you know. So if you are, interested in getting financial guidance from people that you identify with, from energy that you identify with, in a safe space, keep on watching our future episodes. Stay tuned for our Instagram reels. We are on Instagram daily to keep the conversation going. And if you can, please like,
Comment.
And subscribe.
and also make sure to share it with a friend so we can, reach more people for this community, which has a beautiful mission, which is get financially stable as a clap back to a system that often says that we don't belong.
Absolutely. And don't forget, please, that this podcast is for information and educational purposes only, and that if you have a question, we would love to hear from you. We will try to answer it individually or possibly even create an episode and credit you for it based upon your question.
We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Cast, Spotify, and Instagram, and obviously YouTube. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.